Today we're going to make a bleaching tray, and I've got everything I need out here. How to operate this particular machine, you always want to hold it on this handle. It's very hot up here. So I'm going to turn it and face it back here. So anything you put underneath here can also get hot. So you don't want to put a pan underneath or near here, because if you have a wax bite in it, it can melt and distort. So we want to keep everything out of the way. This you lift up, and this bracket holds your bleaching tray material. Make sure it's nice and even. This is spring loaded. This knob here, if you turn it towards you, it locks. If you turn it away, it'll raise up and down. Turn it back towards you to lock it. And then we're going to pull this around to heat up the bleaching material tray. So we've already taken the impression, disinfected it, poured it up, trimmed it, and now we're ready to make a bleaching tray. So with this particular model for bleaching, you have to have the inside cut away so that when this is turned on, it's going to suction down, pulling the tray material with it, and you want it to suction on the outside buccal, anterior, facial, lingual. You want it to just all suck down over it evenly. And if that palate is still there, it's not going to do that, and it's just kind of going to lay flat instead of contouring around the anatomy of the teeth on the lingual. So let's place this under here, and then we're going to pull this top part around and turn the heat on. Now, while you're doing this, you kind of want to get level with the machine and see it actually dip down a little bit. So I'm going to try to lower this so you can see it. And it kind of looks like someone's sitting in a hammock. So I'm going to get down eye level with it and just kind of check. And as soon as it reaches that point, then we're going to go ahead and turn this away, turn the suction part on, and pull it down. So right now I'm seeing the material kind of rise up a little bit and then fall. Kind of reminds me of a souffle. Let me see what that looks like in the camera. If you can see, and it's starting to drop. Just a little bit more. There you go, you can see that. So I'm going to turn this on. Now I'm going to turn this off so you can hear me, but this is still tacky like the back of a Post-it. So I'm going to keep going until it loses that tackiness. So we're just going to raise this up, grab the corner here, and slowly lift up, not pulling anywhere near where the teeth are, because this is still very warm and it's going to warp or distort, and we want it to keep the shape of the teeth. So I'm going to go run this under cold water. And that'll ensure that we have bleaching tray material that's going to stay put, and you'll be able to see that when I take this out, it pops out fairly easily. I'm going to use the big heavy scissors to do what I like to call an initial cut. So it's easier to handle with the crown and bridge scissors. And then you just discard that. Then you're going to take the crown and bridge scissors. And I like to cut, I don't want to be anywhere on the tissue where if you have swollen tissue, it will rock and not fit well. I want it directly on the tooth, so I'm going to cut just a little bit of that distal away so it's just tooth. And then right above the gum line, I'm just going to follow that along the gum line. About 1 millimeter above it. Then once I get to that other molar, again, just right there on the distal, cutting around, trying not to touch any more of the palate than I have to, and making sure that when I trim, it's going to be nice and smooth. Okay, so there are your bleaching tray for the upper. And I'm going to show you how to load this, because a lot of times people overfill it, and when you put it on the teeth, it oozes up over the tray and it sits on your gums and just irritates them all night. So this is Whiter Brighter You Pola Night 16%. And some people have naturally sensitive teeth, and so, can you hand me that, please? We're going to take, that's all right. We're going to take this cap off and replace it with the application tip. And what you want to do is where it's going to rest against the teeth, you only want to put this right on the back. And it'll come out a little bit fast initially, so I'm going to put a little drop, the 1/4 of a pea size. Can you see that pretty good? Mm-hmm. Okay. Right there on the middle of the facial. And you'll do this for a few nights in a row. And if it gets sensitive, skip a night until your teeth aren't feeling sensitive. Pull back so it doesn't continue to ooze out. Then you instruct your patient, brush your teeth, swish out with water really good, and then kind of, swallow, get all the water out of your mouth, suck in a little bit of air so that the gel sits directly on the teeth and not on top of saliva. Once you put this in, you see how it kind of disperses. Then you can press on each tooth while it's in your mouth, and it just seeps down into the interproximal areas. And that's where, like, those whitening strips really, they don't do the same job as a bleaching tray. So you want to get into the interproximal so there's no yellow left and it looks like you have something between your teeth. So nice and pressed here, and nothing has dripped over into the gums, and that's why I like to use that amount. So there's our bleaching tray, and you can see here it'll still be comfortable because they can feel their own palate, so it makes it nice to be able to sleep in it. Okay, then once you take this off in the morning, you want to rinse it out really good, brush it with your toothbrush, rinse it again, and then set it upside down so that the water can drain out. Don't put this in your dishwasher or a hot boiling water, because again, this will warp and then it won't fit your patient anymore. Okay?